My child, stop for a moment. One move was all I was waiting for, and you finally made it. It may not have looked powerful to anyone else. It may not have made a sound. It may not have earned a single word of applause, but in the unseen place, something shifted the moment you stopped agreeing with the version of you that kept going back. You did not just leave something, you crossed something. You crossed from pleading into trust, from confusion into obedience, from survival into surrender, from waiting for permission into finally believing what I had already shown you. And I witnessed it. This is why your spirit feels different tonight. This is why the old conversations feel heavier. This is why the same temptation no longer pulls the same response out of you. You are tired but clear, emotional but steady, quiet but stronger than you have been in years. Something in you knows the waiting has changed shape. So let this settle slowly. Let it meet you exactly where you are. The old season may still be standing near you, but it has lost its authority to name you. It can talk, it can knock, it can remind you of who you used to be, but it can no longer own what I have already delivered. To other people, the move may have looked like nothing. To me, it was agreement. That is the word for this part of your life. Not performance, not perfection, not public proof. Just the quiet moment when your inner yes finally matched what your prayer had been asking for. For a long time you prayed for freedom, while still leaving a light on for the cage. You asked me for a new season while still negotiating with old chains. You wanted peace, but part of you kept returning to the very place that trained you to survive without it. There is no shame in that. Pain teaches the body to call familiar things safe. Loneliness can make bondage look warm. But there came a holy moment when I did not shout. I simply let your spirit become too honest to keep pretending. That was the move. If you know you finally crossed and you are not going back, type, I crossed, and I am not going back. I want you to see how much that quiet move actually carried, because you may be tempted to shrink it down. Do not make it smaller, because it was silent. I saw the move you made when no one else understood it. I saw the moment you chose silence instead of self-betrayal. I saw you let the message sit unanswered. I saw you stop asking the wrong people to bless what I had already approved. I saw you close the door with shaking hands. I saw you stop explaining your pain to people who benefited from your confusion. I saw you finally believe the warning that had been pressing on your spirit for months. Quiet obedience can shake more in the unseen than public performance ever could. The moves that change a life are usually made in rooms where nobody claps, nobody records, and nobody understands why your hands are trembling. And I saw what it cost you. I saw the part of you that still wanted comfort. I saw the old attachment pulling at your sleeve. I saw the fear that asked if you were making a mistake, and I saw you choose the clean path anyway. If the move felt small to everyone but you, type. The move was small, but heaven witnessed it. You know what it cost, because you know what you walked away from. It was not easy, no matter how quiet it looked. You left something that had learned exactly how to hold you, something that knew your soft places and your fears and your history, something that could speak through guilt and memory and need. Maybe it was a relationship that fed on your patience while starving your peace. Maybe it was a pattern you inherited so long ago you thought it was simply who you were. Maybe it was a habit of shrinking, of over-explaining, of accepting crumbs and calling it love because you were afraid that crumbs were all you would ever be offered. Whatever it was, it had convinced you that leaving would break you. But you left, and you did not break. You bent, you trembled, you grieved, and still you crossed. And that is the thing I need you to understand tonight. The reason it hurt to leave is not that you made a mistake. It is that a part of you had grown around it, the way a tree grows around a fence, and pulling free always tears something. But what tore was never you, it was the agreement. And an agreement is not your identity. You are not what happened to you. You are not the thing you finally had the courage to release. You are the one who released it. And that person is far stronger than the story that tried to keep you. There is a moment in the story of my people at the edge of the sea. Behind them was Egypt, the place of their bondage. In front of them was water they could not cross. They could not go back without returning to slavery, and they could not go forward without a miracle. And in that place, I did not tell them to explain the path. I said, "Why are you crying out to me? Tell the people to move forward." That is Exodus. Chapter 14, verse 15. The sea did not open while they were still negotiating with Egypt. It opened when they agreed to move. Your move carried that same weight. Maybe you did not lift a staff. Maybe you simply closed a door. Maybe you stopped texting first. Maybe you forgave without re-entering. Maybe you told the truth. Maybe you rested when guilt told you to keep proving your worth. Whatever it was your one step toward what looked impossible, and the water is beginning to respond. Before I take you deeper, I want to tell you how this word even reached you, because it will make sense to a heart that has been through what yours has. You did not pay anything to receive it. It came to you freely. Likely on a night you needed it more than you let anyone see. And it came to you freely because someone who once stood exactly where you are standing, someone who once had to make their own quiet, trembling move away from what was breaking them, chose to sow a seed so that the next weary soul would find these words waiting tonight. You are that soul. Someone you will never meet already made a way for this to reach you in your crossing. So tonight, you owe nothing. Tonight, you simply receive. And if there ever comes a season when your own feet are steady and I lead you, you may choose to become that for the next one still standing at their sea, sowing a seed of any amount so another trembling heart hears. On the night they finally choose freedom, that heaven witnessed their move too. The link is there for whenever your heart is ready, never as a price for what I am speaking over you. Now understand what opens after agreement, because it is different from what opens after striving. Striving tries to force a door. Agreement lets me unlock what was already assigned, and the first thing I unlock is often not a visible change around you. It is clarity within you, because clarity is the first mercy after a season of confusion. Clarity can feel uncomfortable at first. It may not arrive like celebration. It may arrive like a clean ache in your chest, a sudden knowing of what you can no longer pretend not to know. This is why certain conversations feel impossible now. You can hear the same words, but they do not enter you the same way. You can see the same behavior, but you no longer excuse it with the same story. Your spirit has stopped translating disorder into love. You may have prayed for a visible breakthrough, for the door, the call, the provision, the relationship, the sign. But if clarity does not come first, every open door can become another place where you abandon yourself again. So I start with sight. I let you see the difference between what feeds your spirit and what drains it. That is not punishment, that is protection. If you can receive it, type, clarity is a mercy, not a punishment. And notice that your body is telling the truth now, even before your mind has finished catching up. You may feel a heaviness when you enter certain rooms that used to feel normal. You may feel your chest tighten at a name that used to feel safe. You may feel a quiet exhaustion around people you once gave endless energy to. That is not you becoming bitter, and it is not you becoming difficult. That is your discernment finally coming back online after years of being overridden. For so long you talked yourself out of what your body already knew. You felt the wrongness and called yourself dramatic. You sensed the danger and called yourself paranoid. You overrode the alarm again and again, because the people around you needed you not to notice. But I built that alarm into you on purpose, and I am no longer allowing you to silence it. So when your spirit tightens, listen. When your peace drains in someone's presence, take note. Your body is not betraying you. It is finally being allowed to agree with your spirit, and the two of them together are trying to lead you home. After clarity, there is often separation, and this is the part that can hurt. Not every separation feels like freedom in the beginning. Some separations feel like grief, even when I am the one making the space. You may notice people drifting, you may notice certain connections losing their warmth, and you must tell yourself the truth about it. Some people were connected to your wounds, not your calling. Some were attached to your old availability, not your healed identity. Some loved your gift but resisted your growth. Some needed you tired so they could stay comfortable. When you made the move, the agreement changed, and everything connected to the old agreement felt it. That is why removal can come after obedience. I may remove access before I release visibility. I may quiet certain voices before I amplify your own. Not everyone who benefited from your wilderness is assigned to steward your promised land, so do not call every removal a loss. Some removals are rescue, Do not call every silence abandonment. Some silence is me giving your nervous system room to stop bracing. Do not call every ending a failure. Some endings are the only way the next season can enter clean. And you may feel a strange guilt in this, the guilt of growth. It rises when your spirit knows you are changing. But your old conditioning tells you that becoming unavailable makes you wrong. You may feel selfish for protecting the peace you once prayed for. Hear me clearly. You are not responsible for keeping everyone comfortable with your obedience. You are not called to keep bleeding so others do not have to adjust. You did not become cold. You did not become cruel. You did not lose your heart. You stopped abandoning it. The people who were used to your overgiving may call your healing distance. They may call your boundary pride, your obedience an attitude. Let them speak. Some people only knew how to love the version of you that stayed available for their disorder. When that version began to heal, they did not lose access to your love. They lost access to your self-betrayal. I know how easily a word like this can fade by morning. So if it is reaching the deep places in you, do not let this be the last time my voice finds you here. Subscribe and turn on the reminder, not for a number, but so that when I speak the next word over your healing, it reaches you. You are learning to walk in a new season, and I do not want you walking it without the confirmations I am still sending. Now hear the deepest work, the one you may not have had words for. After clarity and separation, I begin forming capacity. Capacity is not the blessing itself. Capacity is the room inside you that can hold the blessing without turning it into fear. It is the inner strength to receive peace without suspicion, love without panic, provision without guilt, direction without self-sabotage. Many people ask me for open doors, but they do not ask for the capacity to remain whole once the door opens. They ask for love, but their body still expects abandonment. They ask for provision, but guilt still argues with receiving. I am too loving to ignore that. I am not only interested in giving you what you prayed for, I am forming the version of you who can carry it without collapsing under its weight. That is why the waiting was never empty. What looked like delay was preparation. What looked like silence was protection. What looked like loss was clearing. What looked like loneliness was consecration. I have been teaching your inner world that goodness can come close and stay, teaching your body that peace is not danger, teaching your mind that clarity does not require panic, teaching your spirit how to receive. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? That is Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 19. If you are through fighting for everything and ready to receive, type, peace is not danger, I receive it. Understand why I would not simply drop the blessing into your hands the moment you asked. A gift given to a wound does not heal the wound. It gets absorbed by it. If I had given you love while your body still expected abandonment, you would have spent the whole of it braced for its loss, unable to enjoy a single day of it in peace. If I had given you provision while guilt still argued with receiving, you would have found a way to lose it or to punish yourself for having it. If I had opened the door while you still needed the approval of the very people I was leading you away from, you would have carried them through it with you and rebuilt the old cage in a new house. So I have been enlarging you from the inside. I have been teaching your nervous system that calm is not the pause before the next disaster. I have been teaching your heart that being chosen does not have to come with a hidden cost. I have been teaching your hands to hold something good without gripping it in fear. This is slow work, and it does not photograph well. No one will ever see it. But it is the difference between a blessing that lands and shatters you, and a blessing that lands and finally, at last, gets to stay. You were not being denied in the waiting. You were being widened, so that when the good thing comes, there is finally a whole person here to receive it. But I must prepare you for something, because the season after the move must be protected. The old season does not always leave loudly. Sometimes it waits until you feel calm, and then it returns with a softer voice. It may not come as an attack. It may come as a memory. It may come as guilt. It may come as one familiar message that makes your hand reach for the door again. This is why discernment matters after breakthrough. Patterns do not surrender their access just because your spirit finally told the truth. The old cycle may whisper that you were too harsh, that you misunderstood me, that you should check just one more time. That one conversation will not hurt. That one visit will not matter. That one compromise will not rebuild the chain. But one more time is exactly how cycles resurrect. One more time is how guilt dresses itself as compassion, while quietly asking you to abandon the peace I just restored. If you know the truth in your spirit type, I will not rebuild the chain. Let me name the disguises the old season will wear, so you recognize them the moment they arrive. It may return through guilt, reminding you of who needed you, asking who you think you are now, making you feel selfish for protecting a peace that cost you years to find. But hear me, guilt is not always conviction. Sometimes guilt is only the withdrawal you feel when you step out of dysfunction. It may return through nostalgia, showing you only the soft parts, replaying one good memory while hiding the pattern that kept wounding you, polishing the cage until it looks like shelter. Be careful when memory edits pain into romance. It may return through loneliness, and this one is tender, because there are nights when freedom feels quiet and mornings when the absence of chaos feels like emptiness. But not every empty space needs to be filled quickly. Some empty spaces are me making room for what is healthy, and it may return through false urgency, insisting you must decide right now, making peace feel too slow and pressure feel like guidance. But I do not need your panic to lead you. My voice can be firm without ever requiring your self-betrayal. So when the old season knocks in any of these disguises, do not argue with it for an hour. Just ask the clean question and let your answer be simple. And here is a gentle thing you must understand, so you do not condemn yourself. The danger after the threshold is not always rebellion. Sometimes it is only emotional familiarity. You can know something is wrong for you and still miss how it used to feel. You can know I delivered you and still feel a tenderness toward what once trained you to survive. That tenderness does not mean you should return. It means you are human. It means there were pieces of that season that touched real needs in you, and your soul may need time to grieve what your spirit already knows it cannot carry forward. So you do not have to demonize anyone to stay free. You do not have to hate a single person to obey me. You do not have to rewrite every memory as evil. You only have to tell the truth about what that connection produced in you, whether it pulled you toward peace or toward self-abandonment. Some things were not evil. They were expired. Some rooms were not cursed. They were completed. Some people were not monsters. They were simply connected to a version of you I am no longer asking you to be. If you can hold that truth, gentle and final at the same time, type, some things were expired, not evil. Let me pause and speak simply to you now as the ministry that carries these words. This message found you tonight only because someone before you made it possible. Someone who was once set free and, out of gratitude, sewed so the next captive would hear the door unlock. Somewhere tonight there is another chosen one standing at their own sea, exhausted, afraid, one decision away from freedom, needing exactly the strength you just received. If I ever lead you, you can become the reason it reaches them. Sowing a seed of any amount so these words of freedom keep finding the ones still standing in bondage. You would be doing for the next trembling heart precisely what someone once did for you. Every seed sown in love is remembered. The link is in the description and pinned in the comments. For whenever you are ready, and only ever as a gift passed forward, learn to ask the clean question when the old season calls, because it will call, and it will not always sound like an enemy. Ask, does this pull me toward obedience or back into fear? Does this make my spirit clearer or more confused? Does this honor the move I made or ask me to undo it? Does this feel like peace or does it only feel familiar? Because there is a real difference between peace and familiarity, and it is one of the most important things I will teach you in this season. Peace can be quiet and unfamiliar. Familiarity can be loud and unsafe. Peace may stretch you because you are not used to it. Familiarity may comfort you because it knows exactly how to find your old wound. In quietness and trust is your strength. That is Isaiah chapter 30, verse 15. Do not run from peace just because it does not feel exciting. Your old life may have trained you to respect only what exhausts you, but my kingdom does not need to wound you to lead you. Healthy doors often feel quiet. They do not pull you with panic. They do not require you to abandon yourself to enter. They do not demand that you become smaller, louder, colder, or more desperate. They simply open with a clean invitation, and that can feel strange to someone trained by disorder. So if peace feels unfamiliar, do not call it absence. If quiet feels new, do not call it delay. If the next step feels simple, do not call it weak. Understand why the gate stayed shut for so long, because you have grieved over it. For years you may have felt like you were standing before a door that would not open. You prayed there, you cried there, you questioned yourself there. You watched other people move forward while you wondered whether I had forgotten your name. But that gate was not closed because I rejected you. It was closed because the version of you standing there was still carrying what could not pass through it. Not because you were bad, not because you were unworthy, because some chains cannot enter sacred doors. Then you made the move. You released the old agreement. You stopped begging the wrong room to become the right one. You stopped calling delay devotion, and exhaustion loyalty, and fear wisdom. That was the key turning. You may not have heard the lock open, but I did. What striving could not force, obedience quietly unlocked, so do not take the key back to the old lock. Do not use new clarity to re-enter old confusion. Do not use the peace I restored to manage a pattern that never once honored your spirit. If anyone is in me, they are a new creation. The old has gone, the new has come. That is 2 Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 17. You are not the person who stood at that gate. Do not let an old voice convince you to become them again just to feel at home. Let me show you who you are becoming, because you have been so focused on what you left that you have not yet seen what is rising. You are becoming someone who no longer needs to be understood by everyone in order to feel at peace. You are becoming someone who can love people without handing them the keys to your soul. You are becoming someone whose yes means yes and whose no is not up for negotiation. You are becoming harder to manipulate, not harder to love. You are becoming sharper, not colder. You are becoming protected, not closed. The people who only knew the old you, the endlessly available one, the one who could be talked out of her own boundaries, may not recognize this version at first, and some of them will not like it. That is not a sign that you have gone wrong. It is a sign that the healing is real. The old you kept the peace by abandoning herself. The new one keeps her peace by refusing to. And one day, not far from now, you will catch a glimpse of yourself. The way you carry a room, the way you no longer flinch at what used to control you, the calm in your own chest where the panic used to live. And you will realize that the waiting was never only preparing your circumstances, it was rebuilding you. And the you it is rebuilding is the one you were always meant to be before the world taught you to survive. Let me pause once more and speak simply as the ministry that brings you these words. Everything you are receiving tonight reached you because someone before you gave so that it could. Someone who was set free and chose to make a way for the next captive to hear the lock turn. Right now there is another chosen one standing frozen at their own edge. One honest choice away from freedom, but too afraid to make it, needing the exact courage you have found tonight. If I ever lead you, you can be the reason it reaches them. Sowing a seed of any amount so these words of freedom keep finding the ones still bound. You would simply be passing forward what was freely handed to you. Every seed sown in love is seen and never forgotten. The link is in the description and pinned in the comments. Only ever as a gift for the next soul, never as a condition of your own. And do not despise the quiet of this season, because you may be tempted to fill it too fast. When survival trains you to fight for everything, the absence of pressure can feel like danger, and you may even try to create noise just to feel normal. This is where the old self most often tries to return, not because you failed, but because the new space feels unfamiliar. The soul can crave what harmed it when healing feels too quiet. So do not go back just to escape the silence. You do not need to repeat the move to prove it was real. You need to protect the agreement the move created. Let clarity keep speaking. Let separation finish its work. Let capacity grow. And let this be a season where you allow rest to become obedience. Remember, in due season, you will reap a harvest if you do not give up. That is Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9. The harvest is coming. Your only assignment in this hour is not to uproot the seed by running back to the soil I already pulled you out of. So take an honest breath here. Not a dramatic one, just a human one. The kind that reminds you that you are still here, still held, still being restored. You do not have to chase the next sign. You do not have to prove you deserve the door. You do not have to make the promise happen by force. This day can be simple. You can sit with what has been said. You can let the room be quiet. You can let your body learn that obedience does not have to be followed by panic. And if you are used to proving that you deserve what you receive, if you are used to staying busy so that fear cannot catch you, then let rest itself become your obedience today. There are some small ways you can agree with the move you made, not to earn anything, not to force the door, but simply to tell your soul that the crossing was real and you will not undo it. Do not reopen the old door just to get one more explanation, one more message, one more sign from the place that already showed you what it was. Because the desire for closure is often just the old attachment asking for another chance to speak. Do not announce your move to people committed to misunderstanding it, because some decisions grow weaker when you keep dragging them into rooms where your spirit was never honored. Clean one small physical space, a desk, a corner, the floor beside your bed. Nothing dramatic. Just let your outer world agree with your inner crossing, because sometimes the soul believes a decision more deeply when the hands take part in it. And write one honest sentence somewhere simple. I will not call bondage comfort, and let it speak to the part of you that still misses the familiar. And to help your soul stand still when the old pattern tries to move it, speak the truth over yourself. Not as performance, but as agreement. I am not who the waiting season tried to make me. I am not only the pain I survived. I am not only the one who was overlooked. I am not returning to what I was already delivered from. If your spirit rises to that type, I am not who the waiting tried to make me. Now let the declarations go deeper, because your spirit has heard accusation for so long that it needs to hear the truth even longer. So say these with me, and let each one land. I can receive without guilt. I can rest without losing momentum. I can obey without applause. I can be misunderstood and still be aligned. I can be quiet and still be powerful. I can be tender and still be finished with what wounded me. I can be alone for a season and still be held. I am not only the pain I survived. I am not only the one who was overlooked. I am not only the person who had to endure while nobody understood the weight. I closed the door, and heaven witnessed it. I chose the clean path, and heaven witnessed it. I stopped negotiating with the chain, and heaven witnessed it. I gave God a real yes, and heaven witnessed it. Do not rush those words. You have spent years letting fear, regret, and old voices tell you that your obedience was too much. Let truth speak louder now. Not by shouting, but by staying. If you receive that you can finally receive without guilt, type, I can receive without guilt. Speak gently to the part of you that still trembles. Tell that part it is not being punished. Tell it it is not being abandoned. Tell it the old panic does not have to come along because you are not leaving yourself behind. You are leaving the agreement that kept you small, and there is a world of difference between the two. Leaving yourself behind is self-betrayal. Leaving an old agreement is healing. One makes you smaller. The other brings you back. One drains your spirit. The other returns your own name to your mouth. You were never chosen so you could feel superior. You were chosen to obey with a clean heart, to carry light without becoming addicted to attention, to walk away when I say leave and stand still when I say wait. And a threshold that is crossed in a moment must be honored in daily life. You honor it with what you stop entertaining, with what you stop explaining, with what you stop feeding. After I have already called it finished, so let this be the seal over everything that has shifted. A sacred agreement between your heart and the God who saw exactly what it cost you. I release the old agreement. I release the need to be understood by those committed to misunderstanding me. I release the habit of calling pressure guidance and fear wisdom. I release the guilt that does not come from you, and the nostalgia that edits the truth, and the loneliness that tries to pull me backward. I release the belief that I must suffer to be worthy, and I ask you to seal me against returning. Seal my ears against the voice of false urgency. Seal my heart against the pull of familiar bondage. Seal my hands so they do not rebuild what grace has torn down. And if the old season knocks, let my spirit remember. If guilt rises, let truth answer. If loneliness speaks, let your presence become louder. If memory polishes the cage, let discernment show me the bars. And let me tell you what the new season begins to feel like, so you have something to hold when the quiet tempts you to doubt it. It will not announce itself with noise. It will arrive as a series of small, clean mercies. You will notice you are sleeping a little deeper. You will notice the dread that used to meet you in the morning is not always there anymore. You will notice you are no longer rehearsing arguments in your head with people who are not in the room. You will find yourself making a decision without the old panic, saying no without a 3-day guilt, receiving a kind word without waiting for the catch. Doors will begin to open that do not require you to shrink to walk through them. People will begin to arrive who do not need you tired to feel comfortable. And provision, in whatever form your life needs it, will begin to come without the frantic striving that used to precede it. Do not despise these small signs by waiting only for a dramatic one. Heaven most often moves in the quiet, in the overlooked, in the ordinary Tuesday that suddenly feels lighter than it should. Seeds do not become trees in an afternoon, but they are never not growing. The stillness you are in is not a delay. It is the first clean air after years of breathing survival. Breathe it, and let it convince your body that the danger has passed. Chosen one, the move was not ignored. The door was not imagined. The clarity was not random. The separation was not meaningless. The capacity I am building in you is not accidental. I have been working through all of the waiting, and your agreement has opened what striving could never force. So walk softly. Walk cleanly. Walk with me. Guard your peace. Guard the clean space that opened when you stopped negotiating with confusion. Do not turn around just because the old season learned how to sound soft. Do not reopen the door just because your emotions miss the familiar. And when that old season calls your name, as it will, let your answer be steady, holy, and final. Before you go, subscribe and stay close to this place, so that when I speak the next word over your new season, it finds you. And share this with the one you know is still standing frozen at their own edge, still afraid to make their move. Your obedience in sending it may be the very thing that gives them the courage to cross. And if your whole heart agrees with heaven tonight, let this be your last word over the old season type. I will not return. The waiting as the old you is over. The move has been made. I witnessed it. The gate has responded. The threshold is open. Now walk through it, chosen one, and do not look back.